Oh, yeah. Biblical genealogy, a 10-part series. Each lesson in this series is going to be about 2 hours, so buckle up. And then they told me I have one Sunday. So instead, given the time of the year, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about New Year's resolutions and how we can have kingdom work be a part of our New Year's resolutions. Also, parents, you have like a week left. Just heads up, word to the wise. Time is coming up quickly. We are getting to 2023. Now, it's always hard for me to process that. It's so much. I'm still processing 2020, but here we are moving to 2023. 50% of Americans will make a New Year's resolution. And in fact, a lot of Western nations will make resolutions. And in fact, Korea, Japan, it's a very common worldwide thing. It's a time for the new year to just kind of start anew. Majority of all resolutions are health related. We're talking lose weight. Yep. Eat better. Yep. Get more sleep. Can I get an amen, parents? Your other common resolutions would be save money, spend more time with family, get an education. Those are all very common too, but the majority are live healthier. People are naturally inclined to want to be better, whether we're talking as a group or an individual, whether we're talking about a sports team, a company. It is a God-given instinct to want to improve. It's natural. And then for my history buffs, this was invented, or it was first a thing about 4,000 years ago with Babylonians, and obviously my first thought was, man, then did Jesus make a resolution? And then I had the obvious, like, well, no, he was perfect. He didn't have to worry about this. Here's some stats. This is my wife's favorite part of this sermon. So right off the bat, week 1, we're going to lose 25% of the people. Some of those people are going to be day one, falling off the wagon. That's it. So if we're doing the math, in America, there's 300 plus million. So we're talking 150 million people are going to make a resolution, and we're going to lose millions right off the bat. Week 2, we're sliding, where it's not working. 71%, a month, 64. Before we can even make it to summer, less than half. Less than half. That's like 75 million people will not keep a resolution through to summer. And so the sad truth is, at the end of the year, less than 10% will be like, yeah, I did it, I made it, here we are. And that's the people who said they were successful. Is that true? I don't know. But even if they're all telling the truth, that's not a good number. That is an astonishing failure rate. It is really not great. And, why? Why does this happen? Most people who make New Year's resolutions set unrealistic goals. In 2021, we wanted to get Sawyer potty trained. Now, we didn't know at the time that was unrealistic, but that was totally unrealistic. But there are other forms of this unrealistic goal. I want to look like Brad Pitt come summer, and it's July, and I look like John Candy. It's not going to happen. A lot didn't keep track. This is the tedious part. This is the, punch in the clock. Okay, I need to go to the gym. I need to do this. We lose the ease of like, well, McDonald's is easy tonight, so I'm just going to... They don't keep track. And some of these are hard to keep track of. How do you keep track of spending more time with your family? I don't get a punch clock for when I, eat at Sawyer and Penny's pretend restaurant. By the way, 5 stars. It's fantastic. And then lastly, we just forget. We're a busy society. We're on the go, 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 go. We just forget. And if you want proof of that, you come over to my house, have dinner, and you can see on a chalkboard in our house 2021 goals. I know you didn't want me to tell anybody that, Tamara, but it's the truth. I can't even remember goals pre-2021, to be honest. We forget. So now that I've given you this guilt trip, because most of you are probably like, man, yeah, that was me. I did this. And I want you to know this sermon is just as much for me as I hope it is for you. So this year I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could have a challenge, like a better way to do this? And so I thought, we always make these goals. What do I want to do? But maybe we should be asking also, what does God want me to do? Now, don't get me wrong. Losing weight, saving money, those are great goals. In fact, I would even say those are biblical. Your body is a temple. We need to be good stewards of the blessings God has given us. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those, but I'm saying we also should be asking the question, what does God want me to do? And that's a hard question, because it's not like you can just Google, hey, God, what do you want for me from 2023? That's not how it works. It takes meditating, and it takes prayer, and it takes conversations. But eventually you will find that path. You will hear that answer. And sometimes that answer is not easy to hear. But when you get it, when you get that message, that point, that thought, I'm going to hope and challenge you to put it on your heart. Because when your heart decides a destination, your mind will make a map to it. So let me say that again. When your heart makes a destination, when it decides where it wants to go, your mind will make the map to it. And if you don't believe me on that, there are plenty of married men in here who will tell you a wonderful, beautiful story of how they fell in love with their wife and then found a way to convince her to marry them. Guys, tell your wives that they are your heart's destination. You can thank me later for that. So, Matthew 25, part 2. I put part 2 because last week, Dan did a wonderful job of giving lots of examples of gifts. If you saw me while he was doing it, you would have seen me sweating bullets thinking that he was taking my entire sermon. Thankfully, this parable is so rich. All the parables are so rich. There's so much to gain from them, so much wisdom in them, that I'm going to kind of take it a little bit of a different way. And since we've read this recently, I'm going to kind of just get through the story real quick, and we'll go to my points. Just a story of a master, in this case, this is God, who has 3 servants. Spoiler, that's us. He gives one servant 5 bags of gold or 5 talents, depending on your version. He gives another 2 and another 1. And then he goes away on a long journey. This is your lifetime. There's no specific time frame set in this story, and that's probably on purpose because we don't know our time. So the people with the 5 and the person with the 2 talents or bags of gold, they do the exact same thing. They get to work. They go and they put these talents and these bags of gold to work, and they double them. The 5 makes 5 more, the 2 makes 2 more, right? And then we get to the guy that has the 1 talent. Now, he takes this a different route. He goes and not just doesn't do anything with it, he straight up buries it, like he's some kind of pirate with buried treasure. So he has no faith. He is terrified. And eventually, the master comes back. This is our day of judgment. And the first 2 get to come to him and say, hey, master, you gave me this. You gave me 5. You gave me 2. I doubled it. I put in the work. And the master says to them something we're going to all want to hope to hear when it's our turn to get before God. He says to them, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter my kingdom. Well, the person with the 1 talent comes in and goes, oh, hey, listen, I know you're a hard guy. Starts giving excuses. I buried it, but here it is. I gave it back. And the master is just, nope, I'm not having anything to do with you. And he slams him. You wicked and lazy servant. How dare you? And then he tells them, throw him out. That's it. Put him out of the city. Put him out of my kingdom. He doesn't get to enter. It's harsh. It's a harsh end. So what can we get from this? To start, we have everything we need to succeed. God has already given us that. This story starts out with the master giving these bags of gold, these talents. They're already there. So when you're looking and you're planning for 2023 and you're trying to say, well, what do I have? How can I serve? What can I do? Take stock of the things you've been blessed with. Checking your own inventory will show you more of what you have and less of what you're missing. The focus becomes on the things you know you already have and what you're already going to be good at, and you can start the work. Next, God gives unmerited grace, but he does not give unmerited rewards. Thank goodness he gives that unmerited grace. I definitely need it. But the rewards, they're not unmerited. They had to work with the man with the 5 and the man with the 2. They had to work to make it into the kingdom, to get that reward, to have the master say, well done. It wasn't just like, oh, cool, you kept it. Because that's what the one with the 1 day, they didn't do anything. He didn't work at it. He didn't earn the reward. Then also maximize your time here on the kingdom. We know this. This story is vague. They don't say, oh, in a season the master came back. We don't know. We don't know when this time is. We need to put in the work now. So how do we make 2023 more successful? What can we take from this? What can we take from the failures that we've seen in statistics? How can we improve? First, don't make it a year-long goal. A year is such a long time. It's such a long time. Of course, you're going to fall off the wagon sometimes. Busy. We're busy. Businesses don't work like this. You break things up into quarters. Schools don't work like this. You don't get graded on a year. You get graded by quarters. Because that's realistic. That's manageable. So my suggestion to you is for the first quarter, make it about prayer. Prayer is so easy and it's so good for you. It's so good for your soul. I can promise you there were so many quick prayers this morning saying, dear God, please don't let this sermon bomb. I'll tell you that right now. And if you're worried like, oh man, I have something really important to pray for, I don't know if I can, just remember that about 2,000 years ago, Mary and Joseph said this prayer. Hey God, it's Mary and Joseph. You know that one and only son you got? We lost him. So maybe you have another Messiah laying around. No, he's your only one and begotten son? Okay, we're going to find him. We're going to find him, don't worry. But there was probably never a more stressful prayer ever prayed than that. So then I would say fellowship. Fellowship. Be around the people who want you to succeed, who have these same like-minded goals. If you are in a relationship with someone who is bringing you down, if you are hanging around one-talent people and they are affecting you, give them the gift of goodbye. It's okay. It is okay. The people who you're fellowshipping with, who you're spending your time with, are going to affect your heart and your soul. Choose the right ones. Choose the ones that are going to be there for you, that also have these similar goals. And then, whatever you guys want to do for the other ones, service, study. We have DBS, Devotional Bible Studies. Get into one of those. Make that one of your quarters. I really want to get into this. If you don't know how, there are so many people here that would love to invite you to their home to have this study. And then you're going to cover fellowship and prayer in one fell swoop. You're going to check a lot of boxes. Have someone you can be accountable to. For those of you who are married, you're probably already under this microscope anyways. But all of us need that person. We need that person that we can say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Will you help me? Will you just check in on me? It sounds simple, but it takes a bold step to ask someone to be that for you. But also, if you can and you have the opportunity, be that person. Be that person that can hold people accountable to. That is an honor when someone comes up to you and says, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? That's an honor. Do not think of that as, man, okay, this is just one more thing I got to do. No. That is truly a blessing. That is an easy talent that you could have been given. Use it. And then lastly, get back up when you fail. You'll notice I did not put if you fail. When you fail, there are times you are going to not cut it. I can tell you guys this last year when I'm sleeping in a hospital bed that's like this thick with Sawyer and I've been there for weeks, I am barely keeping it together as like a 2-talent person. There's days that I'm a 1-talent person. I wish that wasn't the case, and I'm working on it, but it's true. It's true. But God gives us that unmerited grace I mentioned earlier, that I can wake up the next day and I can be a 5-talent person. I don't have to wait until January 1st, 2024 to say, all right, here we go again, let's do it. No, I can wake up the next morning. I can reach out to that person that's going to help me be accountable. I can go to my fellowships. I can go to these. I can come to church. I can pray. I can do it. We can do it. But we have to. It is work. It's not easy. It is not just given to you. Say this with me. What I sow, I reap. What I sow, I reap. What I sow, I reap. So I know it's on there a whole bunch. I really wanted to hammer the point home. I was like, we got to get this point across. You got to do the work. The man who had 1 talent, he says, "Oh Lord, I know that you reap what you have not sown." He didn't have faith. He had no faith. He serves this master out of fear, not out of love, out of fear. He lacks faith. In your lives, in 2023, and today, tomorrow, you have to believe in the change that you're trying to make. If you're just going to make a resolution and you're like, well, fingers crossed, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You need to believe in the power of God to make changes in your life, to be a positive force for the good of the kingdom. Be strong and be courageous. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord God is with you. Live an outstanding life, but always getting better. Always getting better. It's not easy, but it never was meant to be easy. So make 2023 your year that you start a fire. And we all live in Southern California. You know a small fire can grow into something real big real quick. Be that fire. Light others on fire next to you. In a minute, Jay's going to come up and he's going to lead one last song. But before I give you the lesson and you can go about your week, I want to invite you, if anyone has questions, if anyone's looking into how do I get involved? How do I get into a devotional Bible series study? How do I find that person that will hold me accountable? I have other struggles where I need Jesus in my life. I have all of these questions. There are so many people sitting in this room right now that would love nothing more to spend some time with you. So if you're feeling that fire, you're feeling that pull today, reach out. Be strong and be courageous.